Prince Harry, once celebrated as the royal rebel who broke away from the centuries-old traditions of the British monarchy, is now facing a humiliation so public, so devastating, that even his harshest critics couldn't have scripted it better. The latest scandal involves none other than David Beckham, global football legend, fashion icon, and one-time close friend of the Duke of Sussex. Reports have emerged that Harry, in a moment of desperation, allegedly approached Beckham with an outrageous request, a $50 million loan. But instead of finding a supportive friend, Harry was met with a cold and absolute rejection. Not a polite excuse. Not a deferment. A blunt, unshakable no. And in the world of celebrity and royalty, that no has echoed louder than any royal wedding bell. The fallout from this revelation has been catastrophic for Harry and Meghan, both publicly and privately. To understand why, we need to rewind and revisit the journey that led them here. When Harry and Meghan first announced they were stepping back from royal duties in 2020, they branded the move as a bold act of independence. They told the world that they no longer wanted to live under the shadow of the crown. They wanted freedom. They wanted to carve out their own empire in the modern world, free from royal constraints and tabloid scrutiny. For a brief moment, it seemed like they had succeeded. Netflix came calling with a $100 million deal. Spotify signed them for millions more. Book publishers lined up for Harry's memoir, Spare, which became one of the fastest-selling nonfiction titles in history. They were photographed in their sprawling Montecito mansion, dining with Hollywood elites and rubbing shoulders with American billionaires. From the outside, it looked like they had it all: fame, wealth, influence, and freedom. But beneath the surface, the cracks began to show. Spotify quietly ended their partnership after Meghan's podcast Archetypes failed to deliver consistent numbers. The head of Spotify even mocked the couple publicly, calling them grifters. Netflix, once eager to promote the couple, began to distance itself after a lackluster documentary that critics branded boring and self-indulgent. Meghan's planned projects, a wellness brand, a relaunch into Hollywood, were quietly delayed or abandoned. Meanwhile, the couple's lifestyle was bleeding money. Maintaining a Montecito mansion worth tens of millions doesn't come cheap. Private security, staff, legal battles, and luxury travel added up. While the couple had signed lucrative contracts, the cash flow wasn't what it seemed. Projects stalled, deals underperformed, and their financial cushion began to shrink. That's when the whispers started. Rumors of mounting debt, of looming bankruptcy, of a couple who had burned bridges with both the royal family and Hollywood insiders. Enter David Beckham. Harry and Beckham were once close. Beckham, along with his wife Victoria, was a guest at Harry and Meghan's royal wedding in 2018. The Beckhams had long admired Harry's charitable work, and for a time, the families were friendly. But that friendship began to crumble when Meghan allegedly accused Victoria Beckham of leaking stories about her to the press. The accusation deeply offended Victoria and David, and though Harry reportedly tried to smooth things over, the damage was done. Trust was shattered. So when Harry, facing mounting financial strain, allegedly reached out to Beckham asking for a staggering $50 million loan, it wasn't just a business transaction, it was a test of friendship. And Beckham didn't hesitate. His answer was a firm, uncompromising no. That rejection, in itself, would have been painful enough. But Hollywood is a town built on whispers, and soon the story spread. Harry, the prince who once symbolized independence, was now branded the begging prince. The man who had declared he didn't need the monarchy to survive was now begging his celebrity friends for cash. For Harry, who has always been deeply conscious of how he is perceived, the humiliation was brutal. The internet, of course, had a field day. TikTok creators reenacted the moment of rejection in satirical skits. Twitter threads mocked him as Hollywood's biggest liability. Memes labeled him as Harry the Handout Prince. Even Netflix subscribers piled on, joking that if his shows weren't so boring, maybe he wouldn't be begging Beckham for money. In the ruthless digital court of public opinion, Harry had gone from admired icon to global punchline in record time. But the scandal didn't just damage Harry, it also dealt a crushing blow to Meghan. Meghan's entire Hollywood persona has always been built around control. Control of her image, control of her narrative, control of the brand she and Harry were creating. She positioned herself as a modern, empowered woman who had the vision and ambition to rival Hollywood's most powerful players.
But now?
Now she looked like a woman whose husband was begging for handouts to keep their empire afloat. For someone who carefully cultivates glamour and strength, the optics were disastrous. And then there's the royal family. The irony of this scandal is that the Windsors didn't even have to lift a finger. When Harry and Meghan left, the palace made it clear. They were on their own. Harry insisted he didn't need the monarchy, that he could build something bigger, better, freer. But now, with deals collapsing and money running thin, it appears the palace was right. Without the crown's safety net, Harry and Meghan have been left exposed, vulnerable, and struggling to survive in the brutal, competitive world of Hollywood. In many ways, the Beckham loan story is symbolic of Harry's entire post-royal journey. He believed leaving the monarchy would grant him freedom, but what it actually granted him was exposure. Exposure to financial failure. Exposure to media ridicule. Exposure to the harsh reality that fame is fickle and friends in Hollywood are only loyal until you're no longer useful. For Beckham, rejecting Harry wasn't just about money. It was about protecting his own brand. Beckham has built a reputation as a disciplined businessman and a global icon. Associating with Harry's desperation would have only tarnished that image. By shutting the door on Harry, Beckham sent a clear message. In Hollywood, loyalty has limits and reputation comes first. So, where does this leave Harry and Meghan? Can they stage a comeback, securing another big deal to silence critics and rebuild their credibility? Or has this scandal permanently damaged their brand, turning them into outcasts in a world that thrives on power and prestige? The sad truth is that Hollywood is not forgiving. It rewards strength, confidence, and relevance. Desperation is a stench that no amount of PR spin can mask. And right now, Harry and Meghan reek of it. Every failed deal, every whisper of financial trouble, every public rejection chips away at the image they worked so hard to build. What began as a modern fairy tale, the prince and actress defying the monarchy to build a new life together, has transformed into something closer to a Shakespearean tragedy. Betrayal, ambition, pride, humiliation, it's all there. And now, with the Beckham scandal dominating headlines, Harry and Meghan are at their lowest point yet. The big question now is not whether they can survive financially, they probably can through smaller projects and appearances. The real question is whether they can survive reputationally. Can Harry ever shake the label of the begging prince? Can Meghan ever restore the aura of glamour that once surrounded her? Or will they fade into the background, remembered only as the couple who turned their backs on the monarchy, only to be rejected by Hollywood too? One thing is certain. This story is far from over. Because when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, every scandal seems to be followed by another. And as history has shown, in the ruthless world of fame and power, once the public starts laughing at you, the hardest thing to do is make them stop.